Alright folks, we're going to try to do something with the Parisienne that hasn't been done in over 32 years. See if it'll move under its own power. Now I don't have the throttle hooked up, so if she won't move under idle, it's not going to move, but we're going to give it a shot. Of course. Let's see what that's about. Well, I don't know about you guys, but this is a new one for me. All right, let's see if I got a spare.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me.
Okay, folks, round two. Let's hope it works this time.
Scotty, go slow.
To give it some throttle, but hey, it moved. I got no brakes, or very little, so I'm gonna have to be careful. We'll see how it goes. Success. Well, this thing's running like me after Cheap Taco Tuesday. And if you don't know what that means, well, it's not good. Things are bad, okay? Anyways, we're going to tackle a big job on this today. We're going to try to get the brakes working because, well, that's just a good idea to have those. So we're going to start with master cylinder, move down to the wheel cylinders and the lines, and we're going to start on this side, the driver's side of the car, for one very specific reason. The sun's over there and it's going to move around to here. So hopefully if we time everything out right, we'll be doing this side in the shade, and when the sun moves over there, we'll be doing that side in the shade. Okay, as I have said, look at what I've ordered the parts for. Not a Pontiac. So let's see if these fit. Here's our new master brake cylinder. Now hopefully you got the right one, because there was a lot of different options, but none of them said power drum brakes, which is what we have. That's looking a lot bigger than what we have on here. Well, maybe not. A little bit bigger. Anyways, let's see if it'll fit. Why do we need to replace this master cylinder? Well, the answer lies right there. You can see that it's weeping where it connects to the brake booster, so that is a problem. Dealing with brake lines, I'd like to try to use my line wrenches. Got that one, didn't twist the line. And we got that one, didn't twist the line, we're good. All right, perfect. Now, I rebuilt this brake system about a little over 30 years ago. I don't recall if I put a new master cylinder on it or not, but it's kind of irrelevant at this point. It's sitting far too long. What might still be all good is the hardware that are in the drums themselves, the pads, the springs, all that stuff.
It's still good, it's still good. good. It's gone. I know.
So the wheel cylinders, lines, and by brake lines I mean rubber lines, and the master cylinder are all places with seals that have likely deteriorated. So we're gonna do our best to take care of all that. So we get that fluid out. I'm sure there's better ways to do this. This is the method I have available, and it's cheap. Except you have to watch out for that. There, we got everything we could out of there. A rag, we'll shove it in here, catch any residual. This is where it'd be better to have the open end wrench be a little faster than trying to slip this guy on. We don't need it all the time, and I might actually go do that if it wasn't for the fact that I'm almost done. Both lines off. Let's get it's like a 9/16. See if we can get that cylinder off. 2 wrenches here, 1 ratcheting, 1 longer for a little more leverage, which was needed. It's broke loose. That one's broke loose. There we have it. Well, this one's considerably beefier than this one, so this might not be set up for power brakes. But let's have a look, see if things will line up and bolt in. That would be great. Make sure you get your seal out of there, because this one comes with a new one. Well, the bolts line up, so that's a positive, and we'll line up to the lines pretty good, so we might be in business. Now, before we get too carried away, we have to, well, bench bleed this, even though it's installed, but we can do it on the car. So a lot of master cylinders, if you get the higher end ones, they come with a bleeder kit, just like this. And if it does, hold on to it. They're great for when you need to in the future. If not, you can go pick these up for fairly inexpensive at most parts stores. This comes with a couple plastic fittings, some tubes, and a little clamp to hold everything so that it bleeds back inside to the reservoir. Now, one's going to be a bigger diameter than the other. That one's going to go in the back here. Because these are plastic, if you get them basically hand tight, you should be okay. I'll go put some fluid in that and get to bleeding this. Of course. You know, another important tip is make sure you get all the consumables to do the job before you start the job. Well, I guess I'm going into the store, which is a bit of a drive away. Keep things together till I get back. Have I ever mentioned how much I love living in rural areas? It's great, but I go to town, the little town that we have nearby, in the hopes that the little parts store there would be open. And it wasn't. It was a civic holiday. Now, I did have a backup plan to go to the bigger town that's a little farther away, but I thought, hey, let's stop in at the local gas station and see what's going on. Maybe they got some. And they did. They had this couple little bottles of brake fluid here. I got to chatting with the guy, very nice guy. I found out he was the franchise owner. He even gave me a little bit of a deal on the brake fluid. And then the guy shows up in a 782 GMC truck, beautiful truck, so we chat with him for a bit. Then his buddy shows up on a Harley, or at least someone he knew. We chatted with him for a bit. We all had a great conversation and just a nice visit. And then I was on my way again. I mean, you just don't seem to get that in the city. And I quite like it, visiting with people and being able to talk to a stranger and, hey, let's check out your truck. Let's check out your bike. It's pretty awesome. Anyways, let's get back to bleeding this. You can see down in there, we get some little bubbles coming up, which is perfect. That's what we want. Now I'm gonna go step on the brake. We're gonna be very slow, very careful. You can see that the fluid's actually making its way up the lines already. Well, here comes the fun part, trying to make a mess here. Not too bad. I don't want to over torque it, because that's one of the reasons they don't come off easy. There we go. Excellent. We got our rag here that caught all our mess. Brake fluid is really good at eating paint.
I'm gonna wreck it!
Master is done. Now we'll get on to the wheel cylinders. Like I said, I rebuilt this brake system, all of them, about 32 years ago. And then I didn't put many miles on it because the engine had kind of let go. Shortly thereafter. I don't know if I told that story on this video, but it's on one short. Let's get this up in the air. See how everything looks. we're gonna get the jack stands. For the rest of this operation, we're gonna want all 4 wheels off the ground. Additionally, when bleeding brakes, we're gonna start at the back, farthest from the cylinder, and work our way up to the front, closest to the cylinder. I'm really hoping to do as little work as possible.
Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
Because like I said, I rebuilt all this before, and eventually we're going to upgrade this to disc brakes. Don't have the time or the money right now. Oh, that one's even got the big silencing spring. These drums are separate from the hub, so you can actually get the drum off without having to pull the wheel hub off. It doesn't feel too bad. Spins kind of nice. We're definitely going to do this line, give all that a good spray. All right. Okay, we've got our penetrant spray in there. Now I'm going to try to get this off, so I'm going to hook my fingers behind it. I'm going to beat on the surface with the pull with my hand, beat on the front. Give it a twist. Oh. Wow, that worked well. There we go. Oh man, look at that. Pretty good shape still. Get you in here, it all looks pretty good. There you go. Look at that, lots of pad. Make sure that wheel cylinder is good. We'll get that all cleaned up, get it back together. Excellent news, the bleeder works. Cylinder seems to be in really good shape on this side. Where is that darn thing? Oh, I think we're gonna have to use the socket. You can see fluid coming out, air and fluid. Excellent. So it's kind of self-bleeding itself at the moment. It's what we call gravity bleeding. But we don't want to do that because we got to change this hose. It's a good thing that we're going to change that. But before we get too far into changing this, let's take a look at our Caprice hoses, our Impala hoses. Yes, even though this is a Pontiac. And let's see. Oh, look at that. They're the same. Fantastic. As I said, Pontiac Impala. Let's see how lucky we get. We're just going to work it back and forth a little bit, but it's moving. Well, that sucks. We broke our line. Sugar pops. Well, the nice thing is the fitting's still good. Maybe we can... But we might be able to salvage it, reflare it. Might be able to get it to work still. Carrying on. And we're going to say that's 3/4 maybe. You know, smart guy would have taken the new line with them. Smaller. Maybe I'll do that this time. I should have applied heat to that line, to be honest. That's my bad. It might give us some problems. Hold on. Oh, there we go. So we've got our copper crush washer here, but our new hose didn't come with one. Fortunately, I've got a kit of these just for this reason. That's pretty darn close, I'd say. We're going to try that, I think. Oh, that ain't going to work. Next, I think we found one very similar. Okay, yeah, we're just cleaning that up right now. All right, here we go. Get that new line installed. Had a little trouble with my flaring tool. I gotta get a better flaring tool. That one sucks, and it's broken now. So, but at least we got that one done. It's working. It's not leaking. We should be set up on the driver's front. We'll move back to the rear soon. Well, this is the front wheel. It does have a floating drum. We're gonna take a look at the wheel bearings now. It doesn't sound too bad. It's been sitting a while, and we want to check the grease. Make sure that they're torqued up right. Yeah, that needs to be a little tighter. Okay, I'm going to get this off, pack the grease in there, and get it all back together. We got our wheel bearing here, and we're just going to add grease. It's all pretty clean. And then we're just going to scrape the bearing into it until it starts forcing the new grease out through everything. The bearing seems to be in good shape, so we're not going to worry too much about the bearings. We're going to just pack this sucker full of grease so that we don't have to worry about these. On there. We're going to go clean this washer, though. The washer does have a little tab. You can see it there, and this is slotted. So it'll go in like that. And then when we run the nut on, you want to seat the hub. So as you're torquing it down, you want to be spinning this. We're going to go get a wrench. We're going to torque that down. And then this side's done. All right, we got our front suspension all together. We got our wheel bearing all greased up. We got our rotors painted up. Okay, we're at the back of the car. Let's see what we got. Oh, that came off really nice. Oh man, very nice in there. Let's have a look here. Look at that. Like new still. Don't see any leaking on the wheel cylinder. Rubber's nice and soft still. We'll see if we can get that bleeder to crack loose. Maybe we can get some action happening back here. Yay, we got the bleeder nice and loose on this back right. So on the passenger's back wheel, no problem. Actually got fluid coming out of it. So we're getting fluid back here. I think it's likely working. But just to make sure, Blow some air through it. Well, I'm gonna pump the brake pedal up. We'll adjust this drum first. It came off pretty easy. Oh man, that turns like butter. Beautiful. Oh, I heard some air come out there. Now, I don't have someone helping me. I'm just wedging a bar between the seat and the pedal. We're not getting any fluid out of this. Anyways, I'm gonna keep doing this for a while. Get my exercise. Well, we got the brakes done, so let's check them out, see if they work. Also, we changed the stance and the look a little bit. We'll show you that in a minute. Since it's got a WS6 steering box, well, why not put some WS6 wheels on it from a 3rd gen? I think it looks pretty good. The offset works great. But that's more why we did it, is to start figuring out our offset on this thing. I'm pretty happy with how things are turning out. We're getting closer all the time. Look at that. Tail lights working. Headlights are working, horn works, e-brake works, dash indicators work. I think even the fuel gauge is working now. I like that stance, I think. It's looking pretty good. So we have tested our fuel pressure. It should be very close to 60. This should be about 58 PSI. So go ahead, Logan, crank. So we have perfect fuel pressure. So that's not our issue. We're gonna dig deeper into this. We've checked for spark and we've confirmed the engine's healthy. It's got good compression in all the cylinders, within 15% anyways. Show you those numbers later. But I think we found a problem here. It seems we have a dead coil, so go ahead and crank it. I'll show you what a good one looks like. We switched our tester to a known good plug-in coil. Go ahead, crank. Sparking. That's what we want. We've checked the engine compression. All that is good. So we're on to kind of the throttle body, looking for vacuum leaks, stuff like that. We even pulled the codes and we got some pretty insignificant codes. Throttle body, right here. We're gonna take that. I think the brake line at the back, I don't have a big enough bolt in it. It might be sucking in some air there, so we might have a vacuum leak. So we're gonna address that as well. We're gonna try those two things, see if this thing smartens up a bit. Well, okay, folks, us changing the throttle body and stuff did not help.
I don't believe it. It's not possible.
But what we did do is I figured because of all the crap we found in that fuel rail, well, maybe all our injectors were plugged. So we changed fuel rail. Let's see what happens. Go ahead, hit. Fires up better. Idles better. Oh, I think we got it. Maybe a little tuning yet, but yeah. So, looking at our transmission, there's the connector we have to get off right there. And we gotta check pin E. That's gonna need power. If that doesn't have 12 volts, then that's going to give us all those codes that we have. We're going to be missing our shift solenoids, our torque converter lockup, all that stuff. It all comes from pin E. See, there's a little E right there beside that pink wire. So that's the pin we're looking for, is that pinkish red wire. It's a little faded, so I'm not sure if it's red or pink. But anyways, we need 12 volts on that, so let's see if we've got it. We need to power up that wire. Now, I have the other side of the connector to do that. We've got some wiring going from our, what used to be our rear O2 sensor power, now to our transmission into this purple plug here. So we're about to test it. We're gonna hook up the battery. We've got our wire running down to our pin E on our transmission connector here, and we're going to see if that's got 12 volts on it now. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I got my probes hooked up a little backwards, but that's okay. Perfect. We got it. 12 volts on that pink wire now. Time to get work on the exhaust. The primary reason I need this is for the O2 sensor. Now, I'd love to put this bigger diameter 2¼ inch pipe on here. I think we're gonna have to go with 2-inch for now. And I'm gonna make it out of scrap I just have kicking around. We can always improve upon it later. This flange is a little bit too big for the headers that are on there, and this one will fit just right. So I'm just taking the exhaust off. Tried it with the impact, now we're trying it with this. Be back in a minute. Getting too old for this. Try this again. This, a little bit of that, a whole lot of hantavirus. That thing is packed with a mouse nest. Great. Just in case anyone's wondering, it comes out of an exhaust pipe after 30 some odd years. That's that. Yeah. Okay, there's one of the rusty pieces of junk that we're going to actually throw on this for now. We'll change it out with something better later, but I got to clean up that weld patched up. Someone was a horrible welder. Might have been me. There's the other muffler. We just got to find some pipe for it. But they are a matching set, so I'm trying to get these on. Okay, so we got the smaller end that's going to fit on our headers right here. I've clocked it. I think I'm going to leave this on for now to see if maybe we can make a kind of a collector deal here. And we're going to get this into a bigger pipe as soon as we can. Now, I'm making it all out of scrap anyways, but at the very least, we should end up with a system that someone can copy if we go get bigger pipes in the future. Cleaned up our pipe for welding. You can see that after we got it tacked, we got it up in place. This is the driver's side. You can see we're avoiding our shift linkage. Sensor is clear. Got good space between it and the shifter. Lots of travel room. We're staying fairly close to the body of the car. And then we need to come back, and we're going to have to clear the cross member eventually. As long as we can come underneath here, we're all good. We're going to weld this up. You can see I got my marks on here. Obviously, I'm not the greatest welder, but that should work. Get this on the car, get an O2 sensor in it. And we're going to put some anti-seize on the threads. We're going to be careful not to get it on the element though. Our 22 mil wrench. On the car we go. Well, there you go, folks. It ain't pretty, but we managed to cobble together most of an exhaust system. And we don't have anything going over the axle, but we go with 2 sensors. And we got pipes going all the way back to a couple mufflers here, so we're going to give it a shot, see how it sounds. Well, folks, we got this thing purring a lot better. It still might have an odd misfire on cylinder 6. We'll have to look into that, but otherwise, she's doing good. I think we're going to get rid of this clutch fan because I just have no way to route intake hose here, the air intake. And we'll put some electrics on it. That sounds good.